Hey there, and welcome, my fellow parents. If you're joining us today, well, it means you care deeply about those little ones running around your house. And as a dad who's been right there in the trenches, the sleepless nights, the epic toddler meltdowns in the grocery store, the teenage eye rolls, I know exactly how exhausting, but also how incredibly rewarding this job really is. Today, we aren't just looking at dry data. We're walking through a highly practical, fatherly guide to positive parenting. This explainer is totally designed to help you transform those exhausting, everyday struggles into actual moments of growth for your kids and, honestly, for you too.
All right, let's start with a scenario we all know a little too well, right? The morning rush. You've asked them 3 times to get ready. You finally lose your patience, your voice goes up, and suddenly, boom, they just shut down. They completely tune you out. Why do our kids stop listening the second we get angry? It's a universal parenting pain point. See, when we raise our voices, their brains instantly snap into fight, flight, or freeze mode. They aren't actually processing our instructions anymore. They're just reacting to our anger. It's wildly frustrating, I know, but it's just human nature. If we want to change their reaction, we've got to start by shifting our own mindset.
Okay, let's dive into this philosophy because, honestly, it takes a massive amount of pressure right off our shoulders. Positive parenting isn't about raising perfect children, and it definitely isn't about being a flawless parent who never messes up. It's simply about guiding them with empathy, consistency, and respect. We're teaching them the actual real-world skills they need to become confident, responsible, and emotionally healthy adults. That's the end goal here. Not a perfectly quiet house today, but a resilient adult tomorrow. And the foundation of that goal starts with one super simple rule.
Number 1, connection first, then correction. This is literally the absolute heart of positive parenting.
Think about it this way. How do you respond to criticism from a boss who barely knows your name versus a mentor who truly has your back? Kids are exactly the same. They listen when they feel understood. And establishing that connection doesn't require booking a weekend getaway or buying out the toy aisle. So the crucial point here is 15. Yep, just 10 to 15 minutes. That is the exact amount of uninterrupted, daily, one-on-one time that can fundamentally transform your child's behavior. No phones, no distractions, zero multitasking. Just a quarter of an hour of your pure, undivided presence. It's the most precious gift you can give them.
And these 15 minutes are incredibly simple to fit into real life. Read a book together on the couch, play a really quick board game, take a walk around the block and actually leave your smartphone at home. Or just lie next to them and chat before bedtime. Here's the secret, folks. Children naturally crave your attention. If they feel connected and have that attention bucket filled up through positive moments, they naturally stop seeking out negative attention through acting out. It's a real game changer.
And speaking of acting out, let's decode the dreaded tantrum for a second. A tantrum is almost never just a kid trying to give you a hard time. Behavior is communication. Behind every single challenging moment is a totally unmet need or a skill that's just still developing. When my kids would act out, I really had to learn to pause and ask myself, okay, are they in that 25% bracket that's just tired? Are they hungry? Are they completely overwhelmed by this loud grocery store? Or are they just seeking connection? Getting to the root physical or emotional need resolves the behavior way faster and way better than any punishment ever could.
All right, moving to section 2, smart choices instead of commands. Let's look at how we practically apply this.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we can manage those everyday power struggles. Getting dressed, eating dinner, trying to drag them away from the park. We can handle these so much better just by tweaking our phrasing. Instead of barking a classic, exhausting command like, "Put on your shoes now," which, let's face it, just invites resistance, try a totally subtle shift. Hey, would you like to wear the blue shoes or the red shoes today? By offering a limited choice, you're giving your kid a real sense of independence. They get to decide. But notice, you are still entirely in control of the outcome, because either way, they're putting their shoes on.
Now, this exact same principle applies to setting boundaries. Kids actually feel a whole lot safer when they know exactly what the deal is. Saying something vague like behave yourself means practically nothing to a 4-year-old. I mean, what does that even mean to them? Instead, try saying, please use a quiet voice inside the house. It provides a clear, specific boundary. When we keep our rules simple, clear, and consistent, it builds massive trust. They know what's expected, and over time, that kind of clarity builds their own internal self-discipline.
Which brings us to number 3. Natural consequences build responsibility. Because, well, what happens when they inevitably push those boundaries?
I'll tell you, one of the absolute hardest things for a dad to do is to stop rescuing our kids. And maybe even harder, to let go of yelling when they mess up. Take this everyday scenario. You've asked them to clean up their toys and they flat out refuse.
Instead of instantly resorting to harsh punishments, use a natural consequence. If the toys aren't put away, well, they're unavailable until tomorrow. They go straight into a bin in the closet. You don't even have to be angry about it. You just have to be firm. This gentle but incredibly effective method teaches real responsibility rather than just instilling fear. They learn that their actions have direct, real-world outcomes.
Because ultimately, we've got to stop viewing misbehavior as a personal attack on us. It's really just an opportunity to teach. When a mistake happens, don't just lecture them. Ask them questions. Hey, what happened here? How can we solve this differently next time? What can you do to make things right? By asking these kinds of questions, you're actively building your child's problem-solving skills. You are teaching them how to repair relationships and take real ownership of their actions.
Let's move to our final section and see how this all builds up. Be the role model you wish for.
Look, all the fancy parenting techniques in the world absolutely will not work if we aren't living them out ourselves, right? As parents, we are the ultimate mirror. And honestly, this is the hardest truth of parenting. Kids learn far, far more from what we do than from what we say. If you want them to speak respectfully, be patient, and somehow control those wild emotions, you have to model respect, patience, and calmness yourself. You literally cannot yell at a child to teach them not to yell. It just doesn't work that way. We have to embody the exact virtues we want to see blossom in them.
So, how on earth do we model that calmness when we're being pushed to our absolute limits? We use these 3 steps to de-escalate. Next time you feel that frustration rising, I want you to try this with me. Step 1, take a really deep breath. Step 2, just pause. Seriously, don't react yet. And step 3, speak slowly. When you physically slow your voice down and just lower your volume, it brings the temperature of the entire room down. Kids mirror our emotional responses. Your calmness essentially becomes their blueprint for emotional regulation.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the powerful shift in perspective it offers. As parents, we're kind of hardwired to spot mistakes and immediately correct them. But children naturally repeat the behaviors that get them positive attention. So, celebrate the good choices and be super specific about it. Say something like, "I absolutely love how you shared your toys with your sister," or "Thank you so much for speaking so politely at dinner." A fantastic rule of thumb is to aim for several positive comments for every single correction you make. Water the flowers, not the weeds, right? As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, kind of profound question to carry into your day. Look past the noise, look past the messy living room, and just ask yourself, what is your child's behavior trying to tell you today? Are they just exhausted? Are they desperately craving 15 minutes of your undivided attention? Start listening to the hidden message behind the behavior. Believe me, my friend, when you approach parenting with that kind of empathy and wisdom, it changes absolutely everything. Thanks so much for joining me today, and hey, stay strong out there.